big life changes from growing up in Southern California my whole life and then moving to an entirely different state, right? Where I didn't know anyone. And then being in a really loving, secure relationship and then that ending because I moved up here. And then everything that came after that, going to a creative residency for a month in Finland. I've had so many amazing things come from these huge pivotal moments in my life journey over the past year. It was never perfect. I had these ups, I had these downs, but the thread within all of that was my intuition and always trusting myself.
I'm Bethany, and this is Life.ing. I guide women back to themselves through grounded spiritual practices and honest conversations about what it actually takes to build a life that feels like yours. This isn't another self-help podcast. It's a space for women who are tired of knowing what needs to change, but not changing it. We talk about devotion, self-trust, and what happens when you finally stop abandoning yourself. If you're in the middle season, between who you were and who you're becoming, welcome home.
Hello, loves, and welcome to a very special episode here on Life.ing. If you aren't already, please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you can know whenever a new episode releases. And I'm just so excited for today's episode because I've been thinking all week about what the heck I'm going to talk about. And I was just drawing a blank. And then I was working on something that is releasing this week. And I started playing this song and it got me all hyped up. And then I was thinking, oh my gosh, my birthday is next week. First of all, I've never had a birthday episode on here, so this is my very first birthday episode. I'm just so excited because honestly, my birthday is probably my favorite holiday of the whole year. And so today, I just wanted to take some time to share with you some of the things that really light me up in my life, things that I've gathered over the years that I have been on this earth. And maybe it'll be a little bit of inspiration for you to dive deep into some parts of yourself that you want to get to know better as well. I just love being able to have this space to connect with you on a more personal level. So thank you so much for being here. For those of you that have joined the ride and for those of you that are new, welcome, welcome. I'm Bethany. I've been in this world of intuitive healing for 10 years. It's something that is a big part of my life, but it's not the only part of my life. And that's definitely something as I start to step into this next year of my life that I am leaning heavy into, where I'm not just doing all of the work, but more play. So with that being said, bear with me with today's episode. If you're watching the video, I got no makeup on. I'm wearing a baseball cap. Your girl is chilling today. It is hot. It is hot AF. I haven't hooked up my air conditioning, and this is just where we're at. So I'm chilling in my living room right now with all of my beautiful plants behind me that I love so much. So anyways, back to what I was talking about. When it comes to my birthday, I love to always take a window of time to kind of reflect on my past year, all of the lessons that I learned, the experiences that I had, and also just what do I want to take with me into the coming year? It's kind of like a little ritual that I've done for myself. And this is my 37th year of life that I'm stepping into. I can't believe I just said that out loud. And, that's a long time. I mean, it's not a long time, but it feels like a long time sometimes. And as I am stepping into this solar return, I look back on my past year. It's hard for me to put into words how much my life has changed by the choices that I've made intentionally. Big life changes from growing up in Southern California my whole life and then moving to an entirely different state, right? Where I didn't know anyone. And then being in a really loving, secure relationship and then that ending because I moved up here. And then everything that came after that, like going to a creative residency for a month in Finland, meeting the amazing friends that I found. Like I've had so many amazing things come from these huge pivotal moments in my life journey over the past year. And even just saying it out loud, it was never perfect. Like I had these ups, I had these downs, but the thread within all of that was my intuition and always trusting myself and trusting that I knew what I was doing was where I was meant to head next. And I feel like when it comes to trusting ourselves, which is really the entire foundation for the work that I do, I think that it can be really easy to like talk ourselves out of making big life changes, out of making decisions that could completely alter the timeline that you're on. But I think that as long as you have that subtle knowing within yourself that like, okay, I don't know where this is going to take me, but I need to trust it, that's sometimes all that we have. And that's all that we can take with us. And I've had a lot of really huge experiences in my life where I didn't listen to my intuition growing up. And that really put me in some dangerous places for myself and for others. And it took me a long time to kind of strip away all of these stories and beliefs and limitations about what I believed about myself to really get to know the true Bethany. You know, there's something that I love to share and that I love to talk about returning to the self and the fact that you already know what it is that you need to do, what you're here to do, or what decisions you need to make next. And a lot of the times it's just all of this other funk and gunk that gets layered on along the way that starts to cloud that clarity. And I think that's why I love the work that I do so much, because we peel back so many layers where we finally get to the core of who you are, where we can say out loud what it is that you want, what you want to do next, how you're feeling, and then finding the right moves to help you figure out what you're supposed to do next. You know, the work is a lifelong practice, but I think over time, what happens is when you find yourself in these big life-changing moments, you know how to come back to yourself faster, right? And I think that that's the beauty of continuously showing up for yourself and having this devotional practice to the self so you can learn to show up within your life fully for everyone else as well. And this birthday has been really interesting for me because, like I shared earlier, my birthday is my favorite holiday of the year. I usually love to plan like these huge parties. I remember one year I had like 15 of my friends. We all went to Valle de Guadalupe in Mexico, and I got a whole damn like villa with like 2 little casitas, and we went wine tasting, and I hired a driver, and we had a private chef, and like these are the kind of birthdays that I love. I remember one year I went to Six Flags with my friends, and I got us an Airbnb out in LA, and it was just so much fun. I love just celebrating life on this day. And this year was completely different. Like, I didn't plan anything, which first of all, I'm like, okay, Bethany, are you okay? Like, what's going on in your head? Why aren't you wanting to celebrate? Why aren't you wanting to do anything? And then I was thinking, okay, I should plan probably something. So initially I was going to go fly somewhere. And then I was like, no, we're not traveling. And then I was like, you know what? Honestly, all I want to do is just lay by a pool with some vibey music, hanging with my girlies, and then going to like a fire steak dinner. You know, like keep it easy, lemon squeezy. And then I realized that I'm in Washington. Like rooftop pools, vibey hipster pools are definitely not a thing. SoCal girly Bethany is no longer in SoCal. So now we're just going to hang by a lake, and I got us a huge floaty for like 10 people, and we're just going to lay in the sun and lounge and enjoy each other. And then we're going to have a steak dinner in downtown. So that's my plan for this year. But as I was sitting here just deciding on a whim that this is going to be my birthday episode, I wanted to share with you some of the pieces of time that I've gathered. And by pieces of time, I mean some of my favorite books that I've gathered over time that have continuously followed me. Like no matter where I live, I can give this book away multiple times and I will buy it again and again and again. And these are books that I continuously return to, even if it's just like once a year. So I'm going to share those with you today, and I hope you love them because I love them so much. Hey, quick pause. Can I ask you something? Have you ever had one of those moments where you finally hear yourself clearly, and then life gets loud again and you lose the thread? And it doesn't usually happen overnight. It happens slowly, through expectations, responsibilities, old stories, and even the roles that you've learned to play. It happens through the pressure to keep moving before you've even had a chance to hear yourself. That's part of why I created Echoes of Self,
Echoes is my seasonal 4-week offering for when you're tired of feeling like you're constantly starting over with yourself, for when you're ready to stop losing yourself every time life takes over. Inside, we move through a layered process of returning, getting quiet enough to hear your own signal, seeing yourself clearly without the judgment spiral, and building ritual practices that actually fit inside your life. The next season of Echoes begins soon, and right now, before it's officially open, there's an early list you can join through the link in the show notes. If today's conversation resonates, this is where we go deeper.
So the first book that I want to share with you that I think everyone should read, all of you, is Mysteries of the Dark Moon by Demetra George. And that's right, I got this sign at the astrology conference that I went to this year by Demetra. I'm keeping this forever. Look how tattered and folded all these pages are. It's ridiculous. That's how many times I've read this book. But I love this book, Mysteries of the Dark Moon, because I feel like it gives such a beautiful history of the divine feminine, but through the phases of the moon. And I love the stories that she has set into it and how it relates to all the phases of our life as a woman. And I think that this is just a staple on the bookshelf forever. Okay, so the next book that I absolutely love and can't live without, that I actually read for the first time this year, is called Making the Gods Work for You. And it's the astrological language of the psyche. So I know y'all have heard my guest episodes. I have a lot of big time astrologers coming on this podcast, but Making the Gods Work for You is really great if you want to learn about the luminaries, the planets, and their personalities of how they show up within your birth chart. I think it's such a cool perspective of looking at it from a psychological standpoint, from, how Saturn shows up within your birth chart and what Saturn represents as the inner author of your life, the authority of your life. It is such an amazing book, and it also has an audiobook, which is pretty cool because the audiobook is actually the live lecture of this book. And so there's some really cool parts in there that are just fun to listen to and to put a personality to the author and hear their voice. So this is by Caroline Casey, by the way. So this next book was recommended to me by my mentor, voted one of the top 50 psychics in the country, by the way. She has been my mentor since day one, since 2016. And this book that she recommended is actually what I used to recommend to my students when I would teach my certifications for intuitive healing. And this book specifically, I love because it's such a beautiful story of what happens when you keep showing up in your life, even when you don't know what the heck is going on or why the heck it's happening. You learn to discover what your purpose is in this life and allowing yourself to be in this flow, in this dance of surrender with what was designed for you. And so this book that I absolutely recommend and love is You Are the Answer by Michael J. Tamura. I actually wanted to go see him live, but he passed away in the recent years, and I'm so sad I missed it, but I'm so happy that he left his work behind. This is just a beautiful book with practices that you can do as well, with connecting with your purpose, with connecting with your intuition. And I have written and underlined so many things in this book. It's so great. And it talks about loving yourself and manifesting and having the wake-up call. It's just a really beautiful book to even just read once. It's a nice, easy read. There's this one part of the book that I love coming back to when I'm especially feeling stagnant or stuck, or I'm just alone and just not feeling supported. I'm going to read it to you real quick. So it says, life is always there giving. The only question is whether we are there to share in it. At this stage of fulfilling our soul purpose, our needs become the needs of fulfilling life's own purpose instead of our personal needs. We begin to realize that if we ask life to provide us with what we need to fulfill life's purpose, it will provide us first with all that we need personally. And it's written so simply, but I feel like some of the best advice I've ever received is always that simple. If you need help, just ask. I can't tell you how many times I have reminded myself of this and the universe, God, creator came through. I have a perfect example. So one time I was dating this guy that I knew wasn't right for me, if I'm about to rewind a little bit, I shared my Hinge profile with some friends of mine, and they were like, Bethany, are you okay? Like, who are all these matches? And I was like, no, I was not okay at the time when I matched with these people. And they were like, okay, we're going to do a reset. I need you to date someone that is completely not your type. And I was like, okay, I mean, I'll try, I'll see. And so I started dating this person, and it was just back and forth. It felt really off, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to be patient. I'm just going to wait it out and just see how this plays out. But I kept having this nudge within me that this just ain't it. This ain't the one for me. Okay. And I remember asking the universe, like, God, just give me a sign that this is not my person. Let's have a conversation about something about a collaboration. Like, I'm going to give you a specific word. And when this happens, we're just going to nix it. Okay. So literally within the week, I get a phone call from this guy. And he's like, Bethany, I think you're so amazing, but I wanted to tell you that, I've had this crush for 4 years on this girl, and she just broke up with her boyfriend, and she messaged me. And I was like, who am I to get in the way of love? And he was like, oh, if you want to stay friends, I'm like, nope, we're all good. See you later. Bye. But it was so funny because it was such a simple ask of like, can I just get a little bit of confirmation that like what I'm feeling is what I'm feeling? And it just ended so smoothly and cleanly and easily. No shame, no guilt, no regrets, no regrets. And, sometimes it can be just as simple as that. Anyways, so this next book is a book that I'm sure most people have read. This is the book that I read once a year. And I believe it's just a beautiful reminder of how destined and aligned our paths can be, no matter how many twists and turns we take, no matter how many obstacles or road bumps that we hit along the way. What is meant for us is always going to be there for us. And that book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Of course, what I love so much about this read is it's just a nice, easy, simple read, but I just love all of the messages within every chapter that comes up. Like I literally just opened up a random page and I have this underlined. Intuition is really a sudden immersion of the soul into the universal current of life, where the histories of all people are connected, and we are able to know everything because it's all written there. Like, what better definition for intuition can there be? I absolutely love that. Anyways, this is my book number 4 that I love, The Alchemist, and I will never, ever, ever stop loving this book. And so this last book has moved with me multiple states, and it's something that is an older book, but the poet, this writer, this artist, this philosopher, his writing is absolutely beautiful. This book is probably the most grounding book that I have. It's when I want to get really into my body and to remind myself that we are all just little beings here floating on a rock in space, and we're all equal in our own way. And this book is just something that I love coming back to when I want to remember the connection that I have with the God of my heart, the source creator, and the beauty of life. Whether it's sad or joyous or full of love or full of pain, it's all a part of the story of our lives, right? And so that book is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. I love that this book also has drawings within it by the author. Like, it's such a beautifully written book. And if you are laying out at a park during this summertime here and you have the breeze on your face, the sun is shining down, this is a great read to read to the self. So I will put the titles of all of those books in the show notes. I hope that you enjoy them. Please share with me if you've read any of those books. And also, what are your favorite books? Because I would love to add to my book reading list for this coming solar return, this coming birthday for myself. And I want to close with 2 things. So I have a funny story, and I have to put this on the record because I will never forgive myself. So, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this. When I was in San Diego, I started to get this rash on my body, and I thought it was eczema, and I thought it was triggered from stress. And that was also like a signifier for me to get the heck out of San Diego. And I had scheduled an appointment finally a year and a half later with a dermatologist. And within 15 minutes, I get a text, prescriptions are in. They're like, this is not eczema. This is a heat rash that you got in San Diego due to the humidity. And it's just so funny when I think about it, because the content that I've been writing on my Substack and that I've been sharing on IG and even on here lately has been talking about like the inherited rules that we live by and the stories that we live by and the beliefs that we live by. And we make them our personality and we take it on as our own. So this is just to say that even I can still live by beliefs and stories that I create in my head. And sometimes we really just do need to check ourselves and also maybe just go to a doctor. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed all of these book recs that I absolutely love and that I 1000% recommend. And also, I love birthdays, okay? And I love making playlists. If you know, you know. If you're subscribed to my newsletter, then you know. I be sending playlists of just whenever I get inspired, I'm like, here, you're welcome. I made a birthday playlist and it is so much fun. It's all summer vibes. I'm going to put it in the show notes. I hope you enjoy. Just so you know, I don't use Spotify anymore. I use Caboose. I've been using it forever. They have a free membership as well. I 1000% recommend them, and that's where my playlist will be shared from. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't use Caboose, what are you doing? This is not a sponsored ad, by the way. This is just me loving them and what they stand for. So lastly, what I want to share with you is a message. This is going to be a solar return reading for myself, but also a message for our community. And I hope that you take this message with you into summer and this next phase of my journey. All right, so I have 3 cards for us today. Love this so much. Oh, okay, love this card on the bottom. I'll save that for last. Look I'm putting it down. If you're watching the video, I'm not changing it. All right, so the first card that came out was the card Step by Step. And Step by Step speaks to taking one step at a time. It's very easy for us to see the whole damn mountain and thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get to the top of this? But when we actually take one step forward at a time, at some point, you're going to end up at the top. And you're going to look back and you're going to be like, dang, I am a baddie. I can't believe I just did all that. And then you're going to look forward and you're probably going to see another mountain. But guess what? You've already conquered the first one. Just keep going. Don't give up. Don't stop. Follow your dreams. This is what's meant for you. Don't question it, because deep down, you already know. And that's the second card that I pulled for us. Deep down speaks to this inner knowing. It's the card of intuition. Stop questioning yourself. Stop doubting yourself. Stop thinking that what is meant for you isn't for you, because it is. And instead of going and outsourcing all of your knowing to everything around you and everyone around you, how can you just trust yourself and what you already know? You have so much wisdom, like that passage that I shared earlier from Michael Tamura about how our intuition is a connection to every single person in this world, past, present, and future. And all we have to do is connect ourselves to connect to that inner knowing. So what is getting in the way of you hearing and listening to yourself? How can we quiet the noise, right? How can we dim down all of those outside distractions so you can hear what's true for you? And that leads to our third card, which I love this for summer and just like, boop, boop, the year ahead. Intention. The solar plexus. All right, so intention speaks to what you want to bring into the world. What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to call in for yourself? Set those intentions, write it down, say it out loud, own it. Okay? What did we talk about earlier about asking the universe, God, for support when you need it? Say what you want. Okay? That's the only way that you're going to get it. You can't be out here floating around all willy-nilly like, oh, it'll just come to me. No, be direct. Be honest, because that truth is your anchor. That is what keeps you going step by step on your journey. That intention is what keeps you going when you start doubting yourself and you have to look deep down within you. These cards are just so beautiful together. I love this message for us. And the last card, which I have to share, which was on the bottom of the deck, which is like the overarching energy. Classic. It was party time. Wait, get it clear on the camera. There we go. I mean, that kind of speaks for itself, but like, hey, it's my birthday. Celebrate life. Okay. No matter what is happening around us, what is happening in our lives, things can be really crappy sometimes, and it can be really stressful and really chaotic. And, we could feel like the end of the world is coming. But how can we find gratitude and beauty in what it is that we already have in our lives? Whether it's just a roof over our heads, whether it's food in the fridge, whether it's a loved one, chosen family, like the fact that we woke up this morning, these are all beautiful things that we can celebrate. So whenever we do get into these places that feel heavier and darker, we have a reminder of what we already have around us. That is abundance. That's really what abundance is. It's not just about money. Abundance is about appreciation for all that you have in your life and all that is coming to you next. So I am sending so much love to you all. Thank you so much for joining me for this birthday episode. I would love to hear all of your wishes for me in the comments if you'd like. I mean, you don't have to, but I honestly read everything that is shared with me. Even if you just send me a DM on IG, I answer those. I love sending voice notes, and I just am so excited for what's to come this year. I know that I had some huge major astrological transits happening in my solar return for last year, and looking ahead at the coming year for my solar return. Woo, it is a lot more internal, like some deep inner work. So I'm really curious to see what's going to come up with that, and also excited that it's not going to be so much change in the coming year. Don't hold me to that though. We'll see. We'll see how it goes on the podcast. But until next time, y'all, I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you in our next episode.